Good evening, everyone. So, first of all, up Nigeria. So, this evening we'll be. I can't see the slide. Okay, sorry, I can't see it. So, this evening we'll be talking much about crop physiology. Crop physiology is more than a topic. It's a course on its own. It's a course on its own. So, before you can understand crop physiology, you have to know the basics. You have to know the basics of crop physiology. So, for the next slide, please. So, before you can understand crop physiology, you have to understand plant physiology. Plant physiology, crop physiology is under plant physiology. So, plant physiology is like general terms for all plants, but crop physiology is specific. Is specific. So, it's a body under crop physiology. So, plant physiology is the study of how plants work. Yes, just as human physiology study how our body works. So physiology is just like how our body works. It explains how plants eat, drinks, and breathe and respond to their environment. So it's more of a general plant physiology. So focuses on green plant and makes their own foods, and those are that's autotrophs. So before you can understand crop physiology, you have to understand plant physiology. So crops, as you know, crops plant grown as a community in specific locality. Physiology is study of how living things works. And the combination of the two is crop physiology, the study of plant processes responsible for growth, development, and production and economies by crop plants. So this tells us that it is responsible for the growth, for the development of what you see on plant, what you see on your tomato, what you see on your so it tells you the processes and how you can get a better yield. So that so cross-sectional is more of like a research, is a research area that we the maybe we want to go into research, we want to go into research, want to go into research. You can go into crops, like you can go to crop physiology and then study it as a course. Do you understand? So it's a research area rather. So crop physiology looking at the whole plant and community, not just individual leaves. So now it is more of like you are looking at a 300 plant of tomato in a house. That's how it is. So plant physiology is just like the general science of everything. The weed, it comprises of the weed, it comprises of every autotrophs. So that's how it is. So that's the difference between plant physiology and crop physiology. So let's know. Now, why are we studying this plant physiology? Why are we going to cells? I know most of us we did biology when we were in school, and anything cells, we really like biology. I know most of you, the only thing that you remember when you're in school is reproduction, because that's the most interesting part. So I almost don't like biology. So, but right now you have to deal with it because you have to do biology. You have to do biology. So, and before you can know anything about physiology without everything, you have to know about cell because cells is basic. You have to know about cell. So why cell in cross physiology? Because any problem observed in the field, poor growth, wilting, low yield disease starts from the disturbance in the cell. It starts from the disturbance in the cell. So human don't treat, but we don't treat even in human physiology. When you see a doctor, what the doctor is looking at is your cells. They are looking at it. Okay, this is what they treat. They treat cells, not the body, because it is the cells that make up the tissue, then the what's it called, the organ. So everything starts from cells. So can we move? Can we move next? So now the cell is the smallest unit of life. We all know that. When we used to read that one as a memory verse when we are in secondary school, I know the society. And it is the building blocks of life. It is the build is like a block. Just imagine like a block. It's a building block of life. So without a block, there's no how you can build a building. There's no how you can have you can build a house. So just imagine that it is what it is like it is the smallest, the block that builds us, that builds we the human. It's like combination of blocks that makes a house. So just look at it at that. So that's meaning of cell. So cell, or you can say that all cells, all living things are made up of cells. All living things are made, even human beings, they are made up of cells. Likewise, plants are made up of cells too. Cells carry all life activities. Every life activities is from cell. So now cell from existing cell, that's when cell division comes in. So that's when it starts splitting, growing from one cell to another. Multiple cells turn to tissue, then organs. So let's move the cell wall. So the strong outer covering of a plant cell found outside in the cell membrane made of cellulose. So the cell wall gives plant shapes. So it is focused on it is the outer covering of a plant cell. So it's like a wall. It's the one that shields the whole cell. So it is the cell wall that shields the whole cell. It gives the plant shape, support, and protection, like the wall of a house. So it gives the plant strength, protects the cell. What does the wall do? It protects the cell, right? It protects something, rather. It protects something. So that is why. So in another way, we can say that it is prevent the cell from bursting when water. I can't see the so when water enters the cell. So it prevents the cell. So it's the one that controls what is entering and what is going out. So it's like a protection, protects the environment. So let's go to the cell membrane. So the thin flexible layer formed just inside the cell wall. So now after the cell wall, we now have the cell membrane that follows, right? So I think we are following. Okay. So what is the cell membrane? What's the functions of the cell membrane? It controls what enters and leaves the cell. It's like a security gate. When you enter the house, what is it? Hello? Okay. So it's like a security gate. So when you build a wall, you have a let's look at it as a military regime. So we can see that they build walls. Even military people, they build walls, and there's a gate between them. So now cell membrane is like a wall, and it's like a gate that controls what enters and leaves the cell. That is the main function. So I don't want to go deeper into cell membrane. So just know that, just pick that one. So let's go to the chloroplast. So chloroplast, you see, when you look at your leaf, this is what is giving your leaf that green color that you see. It is the chloroplast. The green overstructure that contains chlorophyll. So this is where photosynthesis occurs. This is where plants make their food. This is where plants make their food. So this is where photosynthesis occurs. So it's like a solar panel that makes energy-rich food. So we know equation for what's it called for photosynthesis now. So let me explain the equation for you. So the equation is like carbon dioxide plus water. That gives what? So when there's light on your leaf, so it gives the plant what? Glucose and oxygen. So it gives them food and release a byproduct, and that byproduct is your oxygen. So it is this chloroplast there's what chlorophyll that gives what your plant that green color that you are seeing. That green color that you are seeing, this is where it comes from. So you can see that cells is very important. So you don't know cell, you don't know where this green color is coming from. So that is why we are studying what cell. That's the basics. So let's go. Let's move to the next one. So there is vacuum, a very large sack of water in plant cell. So this is where um, nutrients are stored. This to store nutrient, water, nutrient, waste, and pigment. Helps the plant stay firm. So now this vacuum is more like a storehouse. Now, if there is no water, if your plant did not take up water or there's no water in your what's it called in your vacuum, that means it's your plant might wilt. So sometimes when you see your leaf dropping, see them that your leaf dropping, it means there's no water in your vacuum. So it means your plant lacks water. So it is where what water, nutrient, waste product, and pigment are stored. When full, your plant stands. It means if when you see a wilting plant, you know that it cannot stand. So yeah, I think you understand what I'm trying to say. So it makes what your plant stand when empty, it shrinks, the plant wilts. So you can see sometimes that the reason why when your plant is being infected, maybe you have a nematode in your what's it called? You have nematode in your soil and affects your roots. You see that your plant will not have the strength to take up water because something is blocking it. So now the vacuum will what will strain because there's no water inside the vacuum. So that's exactly what happens here. So can we go to the next one? Cytoplasm. So this cytoplasm, I want you to imagine like you have a cardboard, maybe a yellow cardboard. So you now place your you pay your pencil, your pen, everything on it. So now you see those pencils, all these cytoplasm, all these cell wall, all these what's it called, cell wall, all these um cell membrane, they are called organelles. You understand? So now on your organelle, so now what this cytoplasm does that it holds all organelles in place. It holds all your chloroplast, you hold all your vacuole, everything. So it's more like it's like the yellow part of the cardboard. So you place something on your cardboard like this. So that yellow part that you're still seeing that holds everything together, just imagine that whole yellow part is the jelly-like fluid that fills the entire cell. So imagine that cardboard like that. Do you get that? Am I communicating? Good. So that's how it is. So without the cytoplasm, the cell cannot function. You can see that if there's nothing holding the plants together, if there's nothing, sorry, the cells, the organelles together, everything will be scattered. So the cell cannot function. Let's move on, please. Now, cytoskeleton. So this cytoskeleton is inside the cytoplasm too. Is a network of protein fiber inside the cytoplasm. So it's more like it's working with the cytoplasm. It's like a pillar. You know that rod that we always put inside pillar. So it's more like that. It's more like so. Look at cytoplasm like a cement. I'm not saying it's a cement too. I'm not saying it's a cement, but I just want to think it like that. So like that holds, it's like a gel that holds what? That holds your organelles together. So now have cytoskeleton is more like the rod inside that pillar that holds everything together. Do you get that? So it gives the cell shape, support, and help movement of organelles, help cell division like the steel rod inside a building. So cytoskeleton is part of cytoplasm, as I've said earlier. So can we move on, please, sir? So the control center or brain of the cell, that is the nucleus. That is the nucleus. So nucleus is like a central command center. It's like a so that's where your DNA is stored. That is where your DNA is stored. So it controls all cell activities, contain DNA, which carry instructions for life, controls growth, division, and activities of the cell. So this is the work of. So we have inside this nucleus, we have nucleolus. So don't worry, we are going there. You are going there. So we have nucleolus. So that nucleolus that is this inside that nucleus. It is in that. So it is small dense part inside the nucleus. It produces ribosomes, the fat that makes protein. So it is that ribosome. It is like a factory inside what? Inside the nucleus. So it is that we are going to the ribosome, don't worry. So the nucleus is the one that houses ribosomes, like a workshop inside the main office. So no nucleolus, no ribosomes, so and no protein. That's it. No nucleolus, no ribosomes, no protein. So that's how it works. So ribosomes, particle dot found in the cell is like a dot. So it makes the what? The cell, it makes protein the cell needs for growth, repair, enzyme. So that's more like it is the one that what makes protein in the cell. What that makes protein. So protein is amino acid, right? So they helps what they make protein that the cell needs for growth. So they are like a small factory inside what? Inside the nucleus. So they are like a small what? Small factory inside the nucleus. So you can see that they are interwoven, like they go, it is inside the nucleus. You can see how I'm breaking the nucleus down now. So all these things are still what? Inside the nucleus. Do you all get that? Okay, thank you. Can we move on? Now, endoplasmic reticulum. So that is found near the nucleus. So this one is attached, is found near the nucleus, and we have two types. We have the rough endoplasmic reticulum has ribosome attached, and what the function makes and transport the protein. So the work of endoplasmic reticulum is to what? Transport your protein. And the smooth one, no ribosome. That one makes lipids and fat and oil. So can we move to the next one, please? Now, peroxisome. So this peroxisome is like a small organelle too inside the. So we know we need something that can break down any toxic element or whatever that enters the cell. So if you spray something that is very toxic to the plant, it is this peroxisome that breaks down those poisonous chemicals. You can see like hydrogen peroxide. So you spray something that is more poisonous to the plant. So it is this peroxide that like break it down and say, oh no, you can't affect. So it means that if there is more that and the peroxide cannot reduce it, then you know that the plants they have issues. So it was like cleaner that what that detoxify the cell. That is the work of peroxisome. So you can see how those cells works. You can see their functions. So can we move on? Now, Golgi apparatus or body. So it's a stack of Latin sac. They package, modify, and send protein fats where they are needed. So they are like a courier. They send what? They send the package. You know when you go to a post office, I don't know, maybe no, I don't think this Gen Z, I don't know, maybe they know what post office is, sorry. So it's more like you go to a post office and you want to send the letter. They will give you some things that they will package. They can't send it the way the letter will not like the way they were able to package it, the way you give them the letter is not the way they will send it. So it's more like this your apparatus is like they package, they modify and send protein fat to where they are needed in the cell. So that's the function of Golgi apparatus of body. Now, this is plasmodesmata. So this plasmodesmata is like a channel. Now, you know that what I've been talking about, like I've been presenting since, is more like I'm talking about one cell, one cell. Now, as time goes on, that cell will split. That's what we call cell division. So it is this plasmodesmata that allow movement of water, nutrients, and signals from one cell to another. It is this plasmod that will send signals. It is like a bridge that connects. Let me put it that way. It is like a bridge that connects other cells. They connect other cells together. I don't know if you get that. Hello?
We can hear
Okay.
you.
Okay. So it's more like it's the one that connect all cells together. This plasmodesmata that connect all the cells together. So this is the function. So this is how plant cells talk to each other. This is how they communicate. They communicate through plasmodesmata. So that's the function of it. So it means that if there's issue in the cell, there's no communication. No. So mitochondria. This mitochondria is more. Let me explain this mitochondria. I know it's mitochondria. People say it's the power cell, this powerhouse of the cell. Yes, it's the power of the cell, produce energy. So this mitochondria, let's imagine this mitochondria is like a generator. It's like a generator that powers the cell. So it's more like an electricity. It's the electricity of the cell. So, and what does electricity give the energy? Abi, right? So what this mitochondria is that it powers the cell and gives the cell energy. So when sugar enter the cell, so mitochondria use that sugar to produce energy. That's what mitochondria use. So if there is no sugar, if there is no sugar in the cell, there's no electricity because there's nothing that you go to. So that sugar is like a fuel. Let me put it that way. So that sugar is what is like a fuel. So imagine there's no fuel, there's no power. So that's how mitochondria works. It's like a generator. So and the ATP is what is like a power. So let's move. So this is the plant cell diagram. You can see cytoplasm. You can see that yellow part. The way I explain it, that is more like a cardboard. You can see it. Can everybody see it?
Yes.
You can see the vacuole. You can see the peroxisome. You can see the chloroplast. You can see the vacuums. So this is more like the entire cell. The Golgi apparatus plus. You can see the plasmodesma. That plasmodesma that I was saying. You can see the holes. You can see that it's more like a hole that communicates to other cells. You can see the holes there. So that's just the diagram for the was. So let's move to the next one. So what are the importance of the plant cells? Do I still have time? I don't know. Okay, thank you. So important plant cell features. So plant cells have things that animal cells do not have. So this is the difference between plant cell and animal cell. So cell wall, we don't have cell wall. We human beings don't have cell wall. Our own cell wall is like our bone. That's our bone. So that's what makes us stand, right? So it's more like bone, so we don't have, right? Chloroplast, we don't make food ourselves, abi, right? We don't make food ourselves, so we don't have leaf, or do we have leaf? So we don't have something like that. So global land, cetra, vacuum, plasmodesmata, we don't have this. So these are the plant different from animal. This is what make us. So why plant cells can make food? Because plant cells have chloroplast, they contain what? Chlorophyll, capture sunlight and make food by photosynthesis. So this is why plant cells can make food, right? So let's move on. I don't want to. Now let's move to tissue. So now combinations of cells turns was to tissues. So you can see how plants are made up, right? So from cell to tissue, from tissue to organ. So tissues is formed when many plants of the same time combine to perform a specific functions, like teams of workers doing one job. So we have two types. We have the meristematic tissue, the growing tissues and the non-growing tissue. Let's move on. So you can understand that from cell to tissue, then from tissue to organ. So we have meristematic tissue. So these are tissue that are responsive for growth. So and let me just pick few. So the apical meristem, let me just pick the apical meristem. So the apical meristem are the tips and roots and shoots. They causes increase in length. So what this meristematic tissue, what is the combination of cells that helps in plant growth? The empty. So when you see your plant growing from seedling stage to, so it means it is this what meristematic tissue that is working. So they are found at the tips, roots and shoots of the plant. And the lateral, let me just pick the lateral. Lateral is just more of the stems and the root and the side of stems and roots crosses in thickness. So can you move to, sorry, to the next one? So it's more of like the growing part of the plant, the stomach tissue. So the combination of cells that, so for permanent tissues, we have non-growing tissues. So these are more like the parenchyma. They are simple permanent tissue made of one cell. Parenchyma cell, living cell, team cell. So photosynthesis, so storage of food and water. So what these ones do that it helps in healing and repair. They provide flexible support. So these are more like combination of cells. So the most important thing I want us to go into is the phloem and the xylem. I think that's the next one. Are we there? So xylem. So xylem transports water and mineral from roots to leaves. They are mostly dead cells. So look at xylem like a pipe in your house that distributes waters in your house. So that's one of the xylem. So like you know that they move water move freely through those pipes. We can connect from one house to another, connect one pipe, water will still be there, right? So xylem is something like that. So what xylem does is that it transports water and minerals. It transports water and mineral. I don't know, maybe sometimes when your plant is stressed and maybe you see them, maybe their leaf is dropping or something, you see some abnormalities on your plant, or maybe during each period. Now when you give plant water at that particular moment, you will see that they come back. Almost, maybe if you give them like 10 or 5 or 15 minutes, they are back. Why? Because the water can move freely. So xylem is something like that. So is like is like complex. It's more of like a complex tissue. So and phloem transport food sugar from pan other parts. So it means that when we eat food, like we in the human being, when we eat food, it digests, right? It takes some time for it to work. It will break down, and so phloem is something like that. So it phloem is like food delivery workers. Do we get that? Good. So can we move to the next one? Now organ. So an organ is made when different tissues join together to perform a bigger function. You can see how we are moving from cell to tissue endwards to organ. So from cell, combination of cells turns to tissue, tissue combination of tissues turn towards organ. So someone is typing. So all these tissue work together to perform what? Look at this epidermal tissue. So the combination of epidermal tissue, mesophyll, parenchymal tissue, phloem, and xylem. All these tissue work. What is it? Hello?
We can
Hello?
hear you.
Okay. So all these tissues work together to perform photosynthesis. You can see this. Okay, okay, okay. So can we move to the next one? No. So cell division and cell growth. So this explains how plant cell increases in numbers and how plant grow bigger and taller. Why growth happen at specific parts of plants. So let's move on. I don't have much time again. It's 44. So cell division is means one cell dividing to form two new cells. So you can see it now. So it means that one cell what divide how cell divides. How the reason why our plant grows taller. So the reason why our plant grows taller is because there is cell division. So one cell split into two, then continues like that. They keep dividing, and the plant continues to grow taller. So that's how it happens. So while planning is for growth, repair of damaged plants, so types of cell divisions, we have mitosis, meiosis. So majorly we focus on mitosis in crop physiology. So cell division that produce two identical cells. Why is it important? Growth of root and shoot, repair of tissues, increase in plant size. Every normal growth plant happens by mitosis. You can see that every normal growth that you see. So if you are looking at a plant, the plant is growing, it is mitosis. So this discussion is more like it allows you to see plant differently. It's allowed to see plant differently. So when you are looking at plant, you are not looking at it as non-living things. You are looking at it as a living thing. So when you see plants, you know this is cell. You are looking at cell. This night that you will be looking at plants, like cell is cell that you'll be looking at. So let's move on. So you can see that yes, mitosis. You can see meristematic tissues. So mitosis occurs in what a meristematic tissue. These are growing regions of plant, the apical, lateral. I think I've explained that before. So and we have stages of mitosis, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. So for the divisions, chromosome become divisible, nucleus start breaking down, cell is preparing to divide at metaphase, And this one is explaining it says ready to split. One cell split into two. So it is one cell that will split what into two. Then the chromosome separate, move to opposite end. How many minutes do I have more? Okay. Move to the opposite cell is pulling apart. Then we have telophase, nuclear, two nuclear formed. Cell divides into two identical. So this is how cell divisions occur. So after mitosis was they have cytokinase, production fluid that holds organisms together, divide, self wall forms in the middle. So this completes cell division. So that's your cell divide. So it's one cells that will divide into two. So can we move to the next one? So just note that, just pick that one. So it's one cell that divides into two. You can hold that one. I think that one is enough for this place. So means an increase in size, having water entering inside the vacuole, cell stretching. That's why water is very important. You can see now. You can see now. Do you know that if you do not give your plant nutrient and you are giving your plant water for like 2-3 weeks, your plant can still survive? Do you believe? Just giving your plant water only, it might be showing some deficiency, some things, but it will still be alive. Your plant will still be alive. You can see the importance of water, and you can see the water what entering the vacuole. I think I've explained the vacuole for you. Is where water is stored in the cell. So if something is wrong, there's no how your vacuole will there will be water in your vacuole because it stores water. That's where it stores water. Do you get that? It's like a reservoir in the state. It means that you can see some plants in drought season, they still look young and everything. It means that they have large vacuole, so they are able to store water during rainy season. So when they store water, they are now, so it's from that vacuole they now started releasing water, releasing it gradually. So that's how they stay alive until they see water. So that's how it works. So role of water in cell growth: water helps to go pressure cell expansion. Without water, no growth, plant wilt. You can see now, without water, no growth, plant wilt. But I won't talk of meiosis. Meiosis is more of reproduction, produce pollen, and it's more of flower, sexual reproduction, genetic variation. So meiosis is used for production. So plant functions. Let's go. I think I have a few minutes to go. Plant functions. So what a plant does. So leaf makes food, roots absorb water and nutrients, stem transfer water, food, organisms do specific jobs inside the cell. So let's move to the processes, please. We don't have much time. So plant physiology processes, you can see it's something that happens naturally in a plant. So physiology is what a process, most of what happens naturally in a plant. Example like photosystem plant making food, respiration plant using energy, transpiration plant using water, germination, seed growing, flowering, and so much and so on. So let's move on. So plant physiology explains how and why these processes work. So this is what plant processes do. So it explains what, how, and why this process works. Thank you for listening.